The big one, salt and vinegar or cheese and onion?
Oh. Oh.
Well, I'm joined in the studio by the author John Foley. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming to Fun Kids.
Oh, it's lovely to be here. It's great.
It's a lovely place to be, and we're delighted to have you as another author to our ranks. You've written a brand new book called The Bear in the Fifth Floor Flat.
Yes.
I have read it, and it is beautiful, but it's a heartwarming and heartbreaking tale at the same time.
Yes, it has a few moments of sadness, but I think almost every story needs something like that. Otherwise, it just becomes a bit bland, you know. Mary goes to the sweet shop, Mary buys some sweets, Mary shares the sweets with her friends, then they go home, they have a lovely time, and there's not much of a story there, is there? So it needs a little bit of light and shade and sometimes a bit of sadness.
So in the story, you've got Ruthie.
Yes.
Who, first of all, has a bit of an adventure with a dog.
Yes, she finds this lovely dog.
Finds a lovely dog. And then it's all about her family and how her circumstance and her lifestyle changes.
Yes. Her father gets into difficulties for one reason or another, and they have a very happy family life to begin with, especially after Ruth has found this dog. And then the father leaves one day, and so Ruth's world is sort of turned upside down. And then there's a problem with the dog. I'm not going to give it away, but that's very sad. I found that very sad when I was writing it.
Yeah, I bet.
And then because they're running out of money, Ruthie and her mother have to go and live with their Uncle Ted on the other side of the river, because at the time the story starts, it's all in North London, and then they move to South London. So there's quite a change from north to south in, moving from a house in Hampstead to a flat on the south side of the Thames. And Uncle Ted, who looks after them both, is a lovely character.
Yeah.
He's a cartoonist. He does lots of drawings, political sometimes, so some of the drawings Ruthie doesn't understand at all, and others are very funny. But in the flat, in that building, it's on the fifth floor. Mm-hmm. There's a character called Mrs. Parker Smythe,
yes,
who Uncle Ted says is very nosy. So to Ruthie, she becomes Nosy Parker. And there's a bit of a problem whenever Ruthie meets Mrs. Parker Smythe, because she wants to call her Mrs. Nosy. And then after they've been living there a while, and Ruthie has started to get used to living with her uncle and without her father, but she keeps thinking her father will come back at some point. A parcel arrives from Dublin, where her father is obviously living in some way. And in the parcel is this rather strange-looking bear. So she opens the parcel and finds this bear, which is covered with kisses, although she immediately thinks they look more like measles. So she calls him Measly. And this is a very special bear, because her father has found the bear in a shop in Dublin, and the shop owner says it's a magical bear. And so the father says, look, whatever happens, you've got to look after your mother, and Measly will look after the two of you.
It's a really lovely story because it's clearly there are things happening in Ruthie's life that she doesn't understand, or she doesn't know why they're happening.
Yes.
And the bear is there for her, basically, is a kind of protective thing as well.
Very, very protective, very, very important. And in the end, the bear, it's difficult not to give it away.
I know, right? That's what I was trying to do. I'm not trying to figure out how to say it. Yeah.
Yes, but the bear is vitally important to Ruthie's safety and to her mother's safety as well. And in the book, Ruthie can talk to Measly, and she believes that Measly talks back.
Hence why it becomes very important, that fact.
It becomes absolutely vital towards the end. And for a bit, it's quite startling sometimes. When I've read it back, I thought, oh my goodness me, this is quite heavy towards the end.
Yeah,
because it's sad, but there is a resolution.
Yes,
there is. I mean, it's just in time for Christmas too, which is the important thing.
It is. You're right. It's very difficult to not give away the whole.
I know.
Plot.
I know.
Also, it's for Mencap. Is that right?
It's for Mencap. Yes.
Is there a reason that they're?
Well, I started writing these stories, and a couple of years ago, I already had some stories in a drawer, and I was going through thinking I must get rid of some of this junk. So I was about to throw them away, and I thought, no, I must do something with them. And at the time, I was involved a little bit with Macmillan Cancer Support, and also the Silver Line, which is a special new service which Esther Ranson set up to look after people over 60 who can get very, very lonely. So I called the first book 7 Simple and Slightly Silly Stories, because they are silly, but they're also simple, but fun. And I gave all the profits for that book to Macmillan and The Silver Line. And then when people kept asking me for another book, and they kept asking me to do an audio version of all the stories, which I'm going to do, I think. But so I wrote another volume, another collection, another 7 simple and slightly silly stories. And I thought, well, my father had been a neurologist, a brain specialist, and he'd had dealings with people who had a learning disability. Mm-hmm. And Mencap has always been a superb charity, very worthwhile charity. So I gave them then the second book. And then because that was last year, and then this year I thought, well, I'll see if they like this book.
I'm sure they do.
They do.
I'm sure
and
it's
selling quite nicely in their shops. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's such a lovely book, and I can imagine a really good book as well for families to read together.
Yes.
When I was reading it, I could get the impression that like you could read it at bedtime, and like mums and dads could read it to their kids. We will have a little bit more of a chat with you after a few more songs. So I'm joined back in the studio by the author John Foley. Now, we have a little quiz that we do with all authors who come in here for the first time. It's a quickfire quiz, but it doesn't have to be quickfire, just to get a feel for who you are as an author, if that's all right. Yeah. The first question is super easy. It's always pretty much the same answer. Books or Kindles?
Oh, books.
Yes, every author says that. It's always good to check. Heroes or villains?
Oh, that's a bit more difficult. Oh, dear. That is a hard one. Both. Thank you.
Writing or reading?
Oh, keep asking you. Well, oh dear. Writing, I think.
Hogwarts or Narnia?
Narnia.
I thought that might be.
Oh dear.
I figured that might be.
I made that transparent.
Laptop or write by hand?
You do come up with some both. I have to do both because I write in a very scrappy way. I'll write bits down here and there. It's a bit like reading. It doesn't matter what you read as long as you read. It doesn't matter what you write as long as you write something, because out of that will come something. It could be rubbish, but out of that will come something.
Just got to keep the habit going, I suppose. Roald Dahl or Jacqueline Wilson?
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl, the classic. Crosswords or Sudoku?
Oh, crosswords, because I write crosswords.
I heard you were a puzzle setter.
I set crosswords. I can't do Sudoku because my maths is just
really?
Absolutely impossible. My wife does Sudoku, and I don't understand it at all. And she's tried to teach me, and I said, no. Crosswords always.
Do you write... Oh, wait, actually, I was going to say, you've already kind of answered this. Do you write 9 to 5, or do you write when you fancy? But I guess kind of whenever it comes to you.
Whenever
almost.
It comes to me.
Yeah.
If I was a really serious writer, I would do 9 to 5, or rather 6 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon or something. Is what a lot of writers do.
Yeah.
But I'm not that disciplined. At the moment, I've got about 10 stories on the go, and I know I've just got to get on and finish them. But they're
just there waiting for you.
Well, they're waiting for me, and I keep going into them and thinking I must finish this lot before Christmas, but I haven't yet.
I can imagine that. Yeah, when you just know they're there. Paddington Bear or Winnie the Pooh?
Oh, well, actually, I mentioned both in the book.
I think that's a tricky one.
That is a very tricky. I think Winnie, actually.
Winnie, okay.
Well, because I grew up with Winnie.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Whereas Paddington is more recent. Still lovely.
But a little bit more, Winnie's more classic. And finally, the big one, salt and vinegar or cheese and onion?
Oh. Gee, oh dear.
Is this going to be the one that stumps you the most?
It is.
Wow.
It is. My goodness me.
This is a real 50-50 split, to be honest. I ask everybody this question.
Right.
It's 50. So there's no wrong answer, technically.
Cheese and onion.
Cheese and onion. There we go. I will allow it. I'll let you have it. John Foley, thank you so much for popping by the studio. And we should say your book is out right now.
Yes.
Everybody should go buy it. The Bear in the 5th Floor Flat. There we go. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.